Kumulena Blat Gemara. Today, Wednesday's daf is daf mem beis. And so the last thing we learned was the Mishnah talks about if you found parts, pieces of a tselem, and we explained the difference in Avodah Zarah and tselem. Avodah Zarah has definitely been used for idol worship, and tselem is a figure, but we're not sure. It's a suffix whether it was used or not. So if you found broken pieces out there, so you're allowed to use them because the sex, like, first of all, who said it was even Avodah Zarah? And even was that maybe it was just broken off and it was mevatel. A goy can cancel their Avodah Zarah. And we are going to learn today that Jewish Avodah Zarah cannot be nullified, cancelled. Only a Goyish Avodah Zarah can be cancelled. Then we had Shmuel's opinion. Shmuel said that even broken pieces of Avodah Zarah, you can also have. He doesn't give us a reason. But then we had an argument, and that's what we were discussing yesterday and continue today. If it broke on its own, how do we treat that? And Rabbi Yechon said it's still asik, but nobody canceled Avodah Zarah. And Rish Lakish says that it's mutter because the goy probably canceled it, seeing that the Avodah Zarah cannot take care of itself. How could be to protect me? The Shmuel seems to be agreeing with Rish Lakish, and so do a number of Rishonim hold that Shmuel and Rish Lakish are saying the same thing. However, others want to say that Shmuel is saying something totally different. That Shmuel does not say that broke by itself. It's mutter. What Shmuel is really saying is he cannot believe that Avodah Zarah break by itself because the goyim who treated this particular piece as an Avodah Zarah would have safeguarded it and watched it and protected it and made sure it doesn't fall on the table and it doesn't break by itself. So therefore, I can assume it was broken. It was in this battle. So it's a different opinion altogether. That's why we can paskin like Shmuel and Rabbi Yechon at the same time. So we're continuing the subject that we had. We are up to Ace, full of Ace right here. So let's just figure out which one we're up to. We're up to about 10 lines from the top of the page. Ace, so Yechon keeps on bombarding the Shlokish with a bunch of questions. Ace, that's a question. It says in the Mishnah, you found the form of a full hand, of a full leg. They are forbidden. Why? Because things like that, similar that people worship. But it's obviously broken off, and the Shlokish hold if it's broken off, automatically we say that it's no longer Avodah Zarah because the guy it gives up on it. Amayash, what do you know? So what answers? Didn't we learn yesterday? Shmuel explains, but we're not talking about a broken off hand or broken off leg. We're talking about had a base, and therefore it's quite obvious that this was the entire piece. It's not broken at all. So we're continuing to explore the machlekes of Yechon and Shlokish if the Avodah Zarah broke on its own. Yechon says, well, nobody was mevatel, nobody canceled it, it's still Avodah Zarah. And according to the Shlokish, we say that no, that the owner of the Avodah Zarah definitely says to himself, if this Avodah Zarah cannot protect itself, how in the world is it going to protect me? So automatically the guy would be, even though it broke on its own, he didn't break it, he now is mevatel in his mind. So Rabbi Yechon is asking a slew of questions against Rish Lakish. Next one. So about 13 lines at the top of the page. Esav asks another question. It says, the goy, the important rule is, a goy can cancel his Avodah Zarah. And we'll learn later on how and so on, but he can cancel it. A yid cannot cancel their own Avodah Zarah. Once Avodah Zarah yid, he has to get rid of it. There's nothing you can do to take away that Avodah Zarah. So says the Gemara, Esav learned, a goy, mevatel avodas kachavim can cancel his own Avodah Zarah, shaloi, his own, and this shall chaveda. So too, another guy as well. No, this guy does pa'or, this guy does makulis, he can do that. And we'll see later in the Gemara how we know that guy can do it. However, the Yisrael, a Yid, a Yid cannot destroy a guy's Avodah Zarah. Now the question is, why not? But why is a Yid destroying a guy's Avodah Zarah any different than the Avodah Zarah fell down on its own and broke apart and fell apart? Yudesh Lakish showed that even the guy would not mevatel it if it falls down. It's mutter. So if a Yid breaks it, it's no different than l'chayda. It should be mutter. What's the difference in logic? Amai to have it. Why is it any different than that? Oh, but Abai says we're talking about the case here is it didn't break. What the Yid did was shepachsa. He hammered it in, so therefore it became smaller. But nothing was missing. So therefore it has nothing to do with the case of Nishtabra Meleh broke on its own. That could very well be like a shlokish that it's mutter. But here we're talking about the Yid just hammered it in and made it smaller, but no pieces fell off. Says the Gemara, if he just hammered it in and everything else, so what happens? But now didn't we learn that by a goy, if a goy did that, if a goy hammered in his Avodah Zarah, that cancels it. So what do you tell me a Maisa that no pieces fell off and therefore it's still Avodah Zarah? No, if a Goy would have done exactly the same thing, that would be Mevatel Avodah Zarah. So if a Yid does that, it should be no different than Ishtabra Meila, no worse than that. And the dinner should be no longer Avodah Zarah. Okay, so Akash and Shlokish. Says Gemara, it's a big difference if a goy did it or a yid did it. Hani mila if a goy did it. I mean, why? How would a goy treat his own avodah? He respects it, he reveres it. Why would we bang it? Obviously, it's a demonstration that he is mavakelit. If a goy does it, he's mavakelit. But if a pachsa yisrael, if a yid does it, so then the goy did not show in any way that he's not interested in avodah zarah. So the goy will say to himself, he won't say the cheshbon, oh, he can't save himself. He'll say, well, the entire avodah zarah is still here. He still saved himself. That's what of the Shlokish that Nishtabra Meila is mutter because the guy gives up hope. Won't be in the case where he hammered in a bit smaller than before. That's a Bai's answer. However, Rava says, if a Yid did it, I would tell you if he hammered it in, Itaka would be bottle. And no different than Nishtabra Meila. So what's going on with it? Midrabanan. If a Yid does it midrabanan, we decided to make it asabana. Very interesting reason. Elexeda, we are worried. Dilma magbala. Maybe the Yid will pick it up in order to break it. The moment the Yid picks it up, it's kind of kinyan hagba. And the moment you kind of kinyan hagba, it's a Yid's avodah zarah, and the Yid's avodah zarah cannot be this battle. The battle. If I battle, avodah chom yad Yisrael. Avodah chom yad Yisrael. Ain't betela olam. Avodah chom yad Yisrael. Ain't betela olam. Now here, no, so Rashi says it's from Hefker. Rashi says you're picking it up from Hefker, and the Achrei may talk about what about you don't pick it from Hefker, you pick it up from the Goy. You take a Goy's avodah zarah. What would be then? How would you be kind of? But it's amazing. The Rishonim here talk about Pesach. You won't find it in Pesach. Find it here, and fascinating. And the shaila is, what do you mean he is kind? It's chasabah no. You're telling me the Yid picks it up, he's kind of, but it's also bahana. So how you kind of something that's also bahana? What are you getting? What's becoming yours? Big shaila, and then from here they say b'chein hu b'chamas of Pesach, or they say differently. So because it says if you buy chamas on Pesach, what do you buy chamas? It's not yours. It can't become yours. So someone has said to me that Isa, remember the big machlekes, Isa hana is still considered yours. So that there's no hana, you can't have hana with it, but it's still yours. Or if there's no hana, there's not yours anymore either. As Rashi says in Gemara Beis and all the Rishonim in Sukkah in the early memes there about an essay. So anyway, so one of the answers given here is that Ran, he says, you have to understand, but Ran says that since if a goy was mevatlet, it would become mutter. So therefore, it's as if there's an inyan of heter in this object, and therefore you can be kained. So therefore, if a Yid is buying, and the chametz, the Yid is buying from the chametz, by the goy it's mutter. By the goy is a mutter bano. So there is bailus there. So therefore there's something for the Yid to buy. When the original owner also has no bailus in it, there's nothing to buy. But because there's a bailus there by chametz, a Yid, you buy from a goy or by avodah zarah. The goy has it's even less than that. The goy also is awesome, but the goy has a potential to vatal it, and then this thing will become mutter. So therefore, it's as if the goy was already mevatel in a way that the Yid, because that's the intention, what do you call it? Therefore, his kinyan is chal. You have to understand what he's saying. A very, very edel word.
It's connected to Hano, but if there's no Hano, you can't have Bibles.
Because the machlek is a bekitzer malmoy and Ramban in Baba Kama in the fourth Perek. What does Bibles mean? Does Bibles mean that I own the thing itself, or Bibles means I have exclusive right to use it? If you learn Bibles have exclusive right to use it, then it's also about no. So what's my Bibles? I got 0. If you learn, and that explains all those training hold that you cannot have Bibles. There's no Bibles in Israel. Actually, it's machlek Rashba and the Ran in the during the Pehei. But if you made a net, then you asked no, somebody else took it. And then afterwards you went to, and you repealed it, like I have to go back to you. Big machlekes there. Same idea. And what do you call it? And the if you hold that bilus is much more than just the right to use it. I have a certain relationship with the etzim of this thing. Now, even though it's also bahano, I can't use it, but it's still mine. In other words, the shaila, if something else won't know, can a guy just walk and take it away from you? Is he a ganef? It's yours. Same thing, same question, exactly. Can you walk in your house and take away all your mashke? Okay, and the Ritva answers a little differently. He says, "But awesome, no taka, you cannot be kind but over here you're making it more awesome. The moment by you go, you can cancel. By Yid, you cannot cancel. So what did the Yid achieve with his kinyan? Made it more chomer. That you can do. You can always be moist more easy. Okay, anyway, next question. Now we're going to have a bunch of questions, and the answer for each question will be exactly the same. Like the Rabbi. The question, if a guy takes stones away, Markulis is a heap stones on the Avodah Zarah. You take away from the stones, and you use these stones to pave the roads and the highways. Mutaris, they're mutter. You cancel it. But the Yisrael you cannot cancel. Amai, but talking about a goy's avodah zarah. So why is it any worse than the shtabra melain? View the shlagzol broke on its own. It's no longer avodah zarah. So he took it and broke it. Why should it be any different? Amai tevek chavish amrila. One answers hachanami kiderava. You're right, but with Rabbanan we are worried that the Eid picks it up. There'll be kind of kinyan hagba, and then what do you call it? And then you can't cancel it. So it's with Rabbanan. Hey, so that's the next question. If a guy went ahead and shaved a tree, let's say for his own benefit, he v'shufay mutarin. If the moment he cut things from the Avodah Zarah, he's mavat the Avodah Zarah, so that and the wood and the twigs, the branches that he cut off, are also mutar. But l'tzorcha, if he did it to benefit the tree, let's say to prune the tree, then he, as soon as the tree is still awesome, he didn't cancel the tree. He's trying to prove it. But if it's mutar, but the branches are mutar because it's not, they're no longer going to be worse, right? They're no longer part of the Avodah Zarah. But Yisrael so he did it, even to improve the tree, or even if he did it for his own benefit, so he'll him it. So everything is also because the Eid cannot be mevatel, including the broken branches. No, you might pick it up and you can never cancel again. Hey, the next question. Tasis wants to know, why does the Gemara keep repeating again and again when we already know the answer, brother? Because every question here we can answer. Kiderava.
What? Don't they have a tzivui when they can't tell us to throw us matzavos they have to destroy?
No, destroy and what?
But you can't be mavatl the guys avodah zarah.
What do you mean? It depends what they think over here, what the tension is. When you can, you can mavatl the guys avodah zarah. Of course he can. You cannot be mavatl his own avodah zarah if he owns it. And the Rabbi is worried about all these things in these cases. The Rabbanan, then you might pick it up. But destroying avodah zarah, guys avodah zarah, of course he can. What do you mean you destroy and don't have hana from it? What are we talking about here? We're talking about here whether you can have hana from it after you destroyed it. We're saying that you cannot destroy avodah zarah. The Yisra hana remains. And that's what we'll see in the next mission. You have to Yelucha Yam HaMelech. Why Yam HaMelech always? Because nobody goes there. Nobody travels there. Even though there's a Rambam that writes, Peldig Rambam, that the Chilozon is found in the Yam HaMelech, which is a Pella because the Yam HaMelech, Yam HaMelech, everything is dead over there, and nobody goes there. And the Rambam said Chalozin comes from the Yam HaMelech area. But they talk about it. That's my question. Hey, so another question is that Yesi Eimer, Sheichik, you'll see in the Mishnah, basically says, what do you do with Avodah Zarah? Sheichik, you grind it up, and toss it into the air. Or you mat to the Yam, or you toss it into the sea. In other words, you can't have any enough. Omro, the Chacham said, tossing the sea, I understand, nobody goes there. But throwing it in the air, it'll pulverize it. Then what's going to happen is it'll turn into fertilizer. People can have hana from it still. So it's not a good idea to Zaydul Ruach. Omro, Afi Nasa Zebel, Ksiv Zaliyuf of Yochim Movement Menachedim. Amai Luchayda, but he broke it. No, to have a Kabbalah Yocham Shitamri broken its own. Achanamik in the Rav, we use Rav's tenets. Matzah Tzuda is darker. You found the Tzuda. Darken is a dragon. You found the Tzuda of the snake or dragon, they want to say. And his head is cut off. Suffolk, now, so what? It definitely was Avodah Zarah, but now it looks like there's this battle. But Suffolk, did a guy do it? and if it's mevatel, or sofik yisol chatzai, and it's not mevatel. So the din is mutter, it is permitted. Why? But vada yisol chatzai also. No, why isn't it permitted? Because it's still a sex activity. Not 100% sure that this dragon, this like what it called dragon, was taking use for Avodah Zarah. Something Avodah Zarah, and in Avodah Zarah, it could be the guy's mevatel. So sex activity is mutter. Mashma vada yisol chatzli cut it off. Also, no, I might have it. Talking about a goy's avodah zarah. Have it, let it be. Same question again. The principle is, if Yid broke a goy's avodah zarah, why is there any words and broke on its own? Answer the mother. Bring the answer. So someone to say that each question was asked in a different yeshiva, and just when the Gemara compiled it, they decided, you know what, we're going to put everybody's question down. But it wasn't all asked at the same time. That's basically how in Balabatish we answer the same questions.
The answer is the same.
The answer is the same every time, but each was a different conversation, different people. Yeah, that answer Abu Shlosh should tell us, and a lot of other Gemaras when you have the same thing. Gemara answer the same thing too. We haven't. It's not the only Gemara we have this. We have other Gemaras as well. And he would say, "Who said it was all said in the same time? Different places, different times." Anyway, Rabbi Yesi says. Rabbi Yesi says. Yeah, Af lo yirak has been meisak shamim. Talking about a shayla tree. A shayla tree is avodah zarah. You don't have any benefit from avodah zarah. So the Chachamim say that you're allowed to plant things under an shayla tree in the winter because in the winter you need sun. There's very little sun, and the shayla tree is blocking the sun. So in fact, you're not having any hana from the shayla tree. It's causing harm. So therefore, it's not a problem. But in the summer, a shade tree actually good because the sun is too hot, too long, and it might ruin the plants or by the seeds. But by having it under the tree, you have a little bit of sun, and then you have it also. But Beis Hashem is mutter. Comes along, he argues. He says, even in the winter also. Why? And the leaves fall on it, and the leaf fall on it, and you have a benefit from that. Why? Because the leaves turn into fertilizer, and they benefit the plants, and you're having enough from the asheda. Now, the Nevi'ah felt these leaves. It actually says the general rule: Nevi'ahs are novus, are leaves that fall down. If these Nevi'ahs are what do you call it, fell down, and here you can't tell me Rov's teretz because he didn't do anything. He fell down by itself. It fell down by itself. It's takin ishtabro. So the should be mutter. What's the problem? Says the Gemara, shiny hossa. There's different. I mean, these answers would have been the Chacham argue with Rabbi Yossi. So Chacham hold that it's not a problem because they hold ishtabro as mutter. But he wants to answer even according to Rabbi Yossi. Shiny hossa is different. The ikel avodah kayem is the leaves fall down, but you didn't affect the real avodah zarah. So when the real avodah zarah hasn't been affected, then the fact the leaves falling down is not the case. Ishtabro is you broke the avodah zarah itself. Right? Parts of the avodah zarah fell down. They fell off the table and crashed. Here, the tree is still upstanding. A few, the rotten leaves, the older leaves, the leaves that are dying, fall down. So therefore, it's not the case in the Shtabra that we're talking about. The guy is not going to be vat. What's also in the Shtabra? The guy says she can't take care of itself. How in the world is it going to take care of me, right? But you won't say that if the avodah is still upstanding. If that says,
what about the pruning case?
Which one?
Yeah, the case when he pruned the trees.
Yeah, they deliberately did it to improve the tree, and then we said that the avodah zarah is mutter, but the parts that fall down. Sorry. Yeah, exactly. So, but that's why over there the din is that the tree, the avodah zarah still avodah zarah. It's not the only thing is that if a guy did it, but if the yid did it, it's awesome. The guy did over there. We say he didn't. He wasn't a battle. He wasn't a battle. The tree is still. If he did not to prune it, he did it for his own benefit. We say he's a battle. If he did it to prune the tree remains avodah zarah. Only the branches that he's no longer going to use for avodah zarah. Here the shtabra meila, but that's not the kind of shtabra meila that the Shlachter is talking about. So what about the previous case? The case when we had over here the branches, like some what you were talking about. The ikar avodas kachadim kayemis, right? The tree is still standing, right? And Tony litzarcha, if you did it for benefiting the tree, this is almost your question. He assured the tree is still avodas zarah, but the shipur mutarin. How come the shipur is mutar? The leaves you tell me are also. Why are the branches any different than the leaves? So Gemara says because when you are, if this is the way the tree naturally grows, that it grows and then leaves fall down, then nothing is bottled here. Over there, you went and you pruned the tree. So therefore, you did a meiser. So as far as the branches are concerned, you were mevatlus. That's another question. Rabbi Shimon Lakish, Rabbi Yechon, Rabbi Shlomo, Rabbi Yechon, that's okay. Finally, this Lakish asked me another question. Kan shebereish ilam. If you have a nest, there's two kinds of trees. There's a hectares tree, you're not having enough from, and there's an ashela tree, you're not having enough from. So if you have a nest sitting on top of the tree for hectares, so loinenin midrabanan, you can't have any enough because the twigs come from the hectares tree that was a nest, and now the eggs there and everything else. The birds there are enjoying the hectares. You can't have enough from it, but it's only midrabanan and the loy moiling. But if you did have enough, you're not moil mahatoida. You don't bring a carbon meal. We'll see in a minute. But Beroisha Shal Hasheda, why? Beroisha Shal Hasheda, but it's the top of Hasheda tree, not have any enough of Avodah Zarah. Yatis Bekana, chase it away, take a stick and knock down the nest from the tree. And you not have any enough from it, so what do you do with the nest? You burn it, because Avodah Zarah, you have to burn it. And the most why we don't use a stick, because you're not allowed to climb the tree to get it, because climbing the tree you're already having enough from the tree. You don't have any hano whatsoever from an Hasheda tree. So the Gemara, right now we thought right now we thought that the birds took parts of the twigs from the tree, the kinsaban, and made a nest out of that. Uktani, and yet it says yatis bekon. And what do we see from here? That you have to. The reason why you have to burn the nest is because you broke it. But if it would have been broken on its own, you'd be potter. So was going to the icy eights in alma. So Rabbi Yechon says, "Who's told you that the tree, that the pieces over here from the thing, you went ahead and you brought trees from somewhere else, the kinsaben, and made what? And you made a nest out of it. So why are we telling you to stick and knock it down? The chiddush here is, as we'll see in the Gemara, we don't want you to climb up the tree. We want to make a different issue altogether here. Not talking about Isa, no, Mutzah, no problem here. It's a wood tree somewhere else. The problem here is we're scared you might climb the tree to get to the nest. So therefore we say, you know what, knock the nest down with a stick. And I'll prove it to you. Because otherwise, how are you going to understand the difference between the Shayla tree and the Hegel tree? They can have an you got the Hegel law, by Hegel says like Nan never Moila. Hegel says you shouldn't have any no, you shouldn't moil. You have no number that rabbanon, and you're not moil. You brought trees from elsewhere. How you telling me Hegel like Nan moil? That's why it's like Nan with rabbanon. There's no meal either because it's not really the Hegel tree trees. Midrash the Lokadishi because they're never part of the Hegel. Eliyam is a shavra 18 men of a kinselband. Says if you tell me that the nest came from the tree itself, what do you mean like moil man? The tree is Kodesh Hegel, and you're using the twigs. Am I moil in Hakadishi? It's a Hegel tree. So it must be talking about that the nest, the wood came from elsewhere, nothing to do with Avodah Zarah. But in one immediate area, what are you talking about? Who said that they're both exactly the same case? That's not right. You know why the Hegel tree is mutter? Because even though let's say the wood came from the tree itself and by Avodah Zarah as well, but by a Hegel tree, there's a machlekes if you makdish a tree. What about new branches that grow afterwards? Are they also Hegdish or not? This time to hold that anything new that grows out afterwards is not Hegdish, and therefore this nest could have come from the aftergrowth. Because somebody holds, that's why there's no meal. No raya one way or another. But Yati gives another answer. You know what Yati means? Yati's be'efroichin. Chase away the efroichin. Nothing to do with the nest itself. Doesn't mean chase it. You thought it chase away the nest. Chase away the efroichin. What do you mean chase away the efroichin? Because otherwise you're going to climb the tree to try to take the birds. And we don't want you to climb in a shade tree and have a no. So therefore we tell you Yatis. They are mutter. Whether the Hegel tree is Lashayim, why? Because they no longer really need a tree that can fly away, so you're not having any hano. You're allowed to have these birds sitting on top of the tree because you're not having any benefit from the tree. Eggs can't go anywhere, so they need the shade tree. They need the Hegel tree. You're not allowed to do. They have a nest there, and what do you call it? And and young little birds, but they still need their mother. Then kibain like egg that need a tree, and therefore you don't have enough from the tree. Mishnah. Hamoitze kelim. We found kelim vessels v'aleim, and on them is tzudas chama, the picture, the diagram of the sun, or tzudas levon of the moon, or tzudas darken of this dragon. These are images that people usually worship. The Rambam Pesha Mishnah says there's no picture of. I mean, normally you learn Pshat in the Mishnah, a picture of a moon, picture of a sun. The Rambam says it doesn't mean that at all. It means what a sun worshipper would use as an image, and the image he describes is someone sitting on a horse, tall with a crown on his head. That's like the sun god. There's a sun god and a moon god, but they don't look like the sun. They don't look like the moon. Okay, so anyway, so Yelichem, since it's Avodah Zarah, Yelichem the Yam Melech, what you should do is you should take them and bring Yam Melech, because again, nobody travels it, so therefore it's not a question of it coming back up, and somebody will have benefit from it. If it's on a Kovedik Keli, then we assume it's Avodah Zarah. But if it's on a disgusting keli, then nobody will make avodah zarah on that. Says the Gemara, remember, it seems from our Mishnah, the only things that people worship are these three things: sun, moon, and this dragon. But I mean, I ask a question. It says, if somebody shechts and has in mind the malach of the yam, l'shum nora, the malach of the river, l'shum miba, the malach of the midbar, l'shum chama, the malach of the sun, l'shum levana, l'shum kachav mazal, l'shum b'chol saragadol, b'chol saragadol, all the shum shilshul, or some kind of a worm cotton, had a elu zichamesin, if he shechted to avodah zarah and zichamesin. So clearly, there are many other avodah zarah besides sun, moon, and the dragon. When it comes to actually worshiping, they'll bow down to anything. They'll accept anything as a god. To actually build something and make a form, and to bow down, these three things, the sun, moon, and the dragon, they'll bow down to. If you find it, it'll be just ornamental. It's not a way to zara. It's one thing that they'll bow down to it if it's a living thing, but not if it's out there, but not or in their mind, but not to actually go ahead and build it. Monkeys, Rav Shesha collected a whole bunch of brises that are difficult to decipher. But Tony, and he learned it so that people should explain in the base of Medrash. It says one brisa, "Kol hamazol is mutarin." Every mazel is mutar. That's the ratio of the brisa. That all mazalos are mutar except sun and moon. Chol hapatzufin, all images mutari are permitted. Chutz me parts of others, that's the image of a person. The chol that's din number 2. That's the middle case. And din number 3, the chol hatzudas mutaris, all the forms are mutar. Chutz mitzura darken, except the form of a dragon. And there's two kinds of things. Are we talking about that you actually in your mind? Or we're talking about you actually build something, a replica. So let's go through the brayse. What are we talking about here? You build something. Only the sun and moon is forbidden. Any mazel. It says even the stars. Are there anything that you make an image of is also to build? So what do you mean? Why only the sun and the moon? And what about the stars? Talking about what? You found an existing thing. So about when do we assume that Avodah Zarah, the sun and moon? Everything else, that's nice. You're a painter, you're a sculptor. We learned middle case, all the parts of the parts of the face. Even we found that parts of other why is the human face also automatically think of it as other. But now the mission says only these three. To dark and in pizza parts of I'm not a person. The second case, talking about you built it. Like we'll see later on the Gemara tomorrow. If you made it, a mistake for call out to the Matara Chutu to darken. To darken me also. To darken is forbidden. Hani into darken light. Only you're not make iti. Only shamasha. You're not made an image of a dragon. So I'm going to ask a question. The first and last case he found it, but Yosef did it. Or by yes, in Reisha v'Seifa b'Maitzu.